Hey guys, after graduating college with a psychology degree, I began to realize that some of the concepts I learned manifest themselves inside Counter-Strike, the game I've loved for 8 years. My goal for these videos is to explain psychological concepts and how to apply them to your playing to give yourself the advantage. One of the easiest ways to get better is to become enlightened on what is really going on a psychological level during the match. So let's get started with one of the most important concepts to Counter-Strike, operant conditioning. Operant conditioning is a method of learning that occurs through rewards and punishments for behavior. Through operant conditioning, an individual makes an association between a particular behavior and a consequence. A good example to best explain this is a dog learning a trick. When the dog responds to his owner by sitting, he receives a positive reinforcement for sitting, the treat. Now the dog will more frequently sit when told to because he is aware that the behavior of sitting gets him a treat. As you can see, this is positive reinforcement because the dog has increased a behavior to receive a positive reward. Now, if we translate this model to CS, in Counter-Strike, we are the dogs. For example, if you are on T-side Inferno and on the first round you try to rush banana and get double mollied and die instantly, you are much more likely to now sit back at the bottom of banana and wait for any nades that might be thrown before moving up, essentially wasting time in the round that you could be taking control. You're now in a position where the enemy has control of you and you're playing their game. This example would be considered negative punishment because the player is conditioned to decrease his behavior, which is rushing banana, in order to not have their life taken from them, which is the removal of a stimulus following behavior. Now let's see what we have learned about negative punishment in Counter-Strike and how we can use it to control our opponent. Alright guys, so we're going to use the concept of negative punishment to control our enemies on B site, CT side, Inferno. Um, you basically want to put ideas into their head early on in the rounds so that they're more scared to take banana in the future, so that they kill time, so that they waste time on the T side, so that they eventually have to rush into and execute late round. And that's the goal you want as a CT side player on Inferno, is to waste as much time as possible so that their execute is as rushed and sloppy as possible when they come out. And that's the best way of holding B. So what you're gonna have to do at the very start is you're gonna have to throw at the first buy round. You're gonna want to throw a full execute with a full banana control execute with all the utility. So you're gonna use 2 mollies, a smoke, a flash, and 2 nades. So you're gonna want to jump, throw behind here. As you can see, this will molly the close. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's very forgiving. So I think right around here is usually where I kind of aim, and then I run forward and jump throw. And this is how you're gonna get the molly out the fastest, so that you can also throw a smoke out at the same time. So you're gonna throw that in unison. This is the first guy. So the first guy's gonna throw molly and follow it up with the smoke. That's gonna smoke down banana. The second guy is gonna run up here on this corner, aim around this area right here. Throw a molly. That's gonna molly the center here. So here's gonna be mollied. Back there's gonna be mollied. There's gonna be this little gap in the middle, and that's okay. What you're gonna want to do is, because after this guy, the second guy throws his molly, he's gonna throw a backwards flash into this, and both of you are gonna peek. And if there's anyone on banana, they're gonna be in this little crack right here, and both of you are gonna mow him down, and he's gonna be blind. After that, you know, bottom banana is going to be smoked, and you'll have 2 nades. So the best thing to do is to nade deep back here, because back here is where everybody kind of sits when banana is smoked off, and you'll sometimes even get a full kill just from the 2 nades being thrown in there. And once you've done that, you've taken full control, right? Alright, so while you're throwing all of this, in the enemy's head, this is the first gun round, right? All this stuff's coming down. 2 mollies, a smoke, they're getting pushed off. There's no way they could survive going up banana. This is where the operant conditioning comes into play, because they're now realizing that if they do the behavior of rushing banana, they will in turn have their life taken from them. Therefore, they instantly learn
that when playing against you, they need to hold here for about 10 seconds and wait for the nades. This is going to stop any type of rush going forward for the rest of the game, most likely, unless they start rushing really hard. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to run through this whole execute with all those nades 3 rounds in a row. This will get it in their heads that there's no way they can rush banana. They're going to die, okay? Now, the rest of the round you're going to be having less utility, but that's okay because late round it's going to help you. So over time you're going to gradually want to get rid of nades. So for example, you won't need to throw. You could throw just the close smoke and a molly, and the enemy will still think it's the same exact strat because they're classically conditioned or operant conditioned, excuse me, into thinking that there's no way they can come up banana. So now you've saved a molly for late round. Now you can use that molly late round when they execute. Um, so you have to think about slowly getting rid of those utility so that you can use them late round, and you can eventually get to the point where you're just smoking down, but they're so conditioned into thinking that this is a full banana control with the mollies that they won't even push through the smoke. You won't ever have to use your mollies. You'll just be at the point later on in the half where you can just smoke down and nade through or something, and then or flash into it, peek it. There'll be no one there, and then you guys can nade through and dip, or you guys can take control. So it's all about using those utility early rounds to operantly condition that there will be a negative punishment for pushing banana. And this will cause you to waste time and eventually, win the game on CT side just because they're so they're playing your game. They have no control over what they're doing because they're reacting to you. And that's how you want to play. You want to be able to play Counter-Strike where they're reacting to what you're doing. You're in control of the situation. You know exactly what they're going to do because you made them do it. And that's how you should use psychology and operant conditioning to hold banana and hold B site in general. So in those early rounds, I wanted to add that you could even have the third guy who plays apartments. The third guy who plays apartments can come over here, and they can be one of the people who are throwing the nades, so that one of you at B can save your nades in case they try to rush late round. So that's also another option you could do early rounds, so you could still have nades at B and still get that effect of the operant conditioning. So that's pretty much the video, guys. If you enjoyed this, if you understand this, or if it's too confusing, please explain to me in the comments that I need to explain certain things better. But in the end, it's all about controlling your opponent, making them do what you want them to do. And it's very easy to use holding B as an example because it's one choke point and you can easily manipulate them with psychology. So if you guys like the video, please subscribe, comment, like, and I'll see you guys later. GG.